So I started thinking, it's one of the things I unpacked in my newest book, Soul Ripples, available at Amazon, is what happens to people who are undergoing a chronic condition, whether it's mental health or physical health. I'd seen this with my mom with her breast cancer, my nan with her dementia, my granddad with her emphysema, and my family experiences personally in our lives with my psychogenic non-epileptic seizures and my post-traumatic stress disorder, which I'm currently undergoing treatment for, and the therapies for curing these to move forward in life. I've come to call them the Jonah Effect. People ask why that term. I was reading a Star Trek Enterprise novel. I'm a Trekkie, I love Star Trek. Enterprise is based shortly after First Contact. The Enterprise novels follow the rise of the Federation. This is from the Romulan War one, where the Captain Jonathan Archer fails to save the Kobayashi Maru. And as such, his crew take calling him Jonah, and in allusion to an ancient Hebrew myth about Jonah, and even seek transfer and distancing from him as being unlucky. Now, what is the story of Jonah? Jonah was a man called to go do something for God in the city of Nineveh. He didn't want to go. He ran away. He wound up on a boat, which then hit huge torrents and storms, and the boat itself and the people on it were destined for death. What Jonah heard was that he had to be thrown overboard. The people on the boat, however, were reluctant until finally they did give in to their own fear and tossed him over, and he was eaten by a whale and spent 3 days in the belly, etc., etc. It's in the Hebrew Bible. Jonah is a minor prophet, not because he was less stature, just because his story is short. Now, why do I call this the Jonah Effect? What does this have to do with chronic illness? Anyone's ever been through anything like this knows these are the times you really find out who your true family is. I'd say your true family, that would entail your community and your friends. It can be times when associates or people you never expected step up and really become part of your lives. It can be times when you can see people you've known, friends, your lifelong friends, all of a sudden distance themselves or try the one-upmanship in conversations instead of just being present. But the core is fear. They are fearful of what you are going through as a change in who you are, and the condition is creating fear for them of losing you and fear for themselves of becoming susceptible or seeing a reflection of where their future could possibly be within you. And that's the sad part of the Jonah Effect, is it does end relationships because it puts them through that test of authenticity, compassion, and love of neighbor as yourself. And unfortunately, what is seen within this fear, as with the sailors, is giving into it so that the love you should show for your neighbor and yourself is one of running away, distancing, and loneliness. It can create isolation for the person going through the trial, the illness, or whatever is going on in their lives. It also creates loneliness in the person who creates the distance. For by creating that distance, they break relationships for their own life. Social supports, which we all know are wholly important. It's much more important for us to have more social supports, professional supports. As you go through medical and mental health challenges, you will have an increase in professional supports in your life. Always seek out ways to ensure your social supports, that's your friends, family, community groups. Outgrow those naturally and organically over time as you heal, if not being able to hopefully maintain them while you're going through the healing process. So as we look at the Jonah Effect, with the Star Trek story, what happened eventually was the crew started to realize that Archer wasn't cursed. And they didn't have to worry. And they actually resolved their fear to return to the ship, some continue serving, but they still had that challenge. In our own lives, we have to work through that fear and apprehension. It's not just the fear and apprehension you have as the friend or the family member, the person going through the challenge. The person going through the event is also facing their own fears, their own apprehensions, their own anxieties, their own depressions. These are events that change lives, for better or for worse. And so it does become daunting when you're going through that life change, that what you see is also a lot more loss upon loss, and becomes harder and harder to focus on the good and to find hope. I don't have an answer for it. I know it becomes one of those things where you do have to really understand yourself. You do have to understand those around you. And you will be surprised by the hopes that spring up by those friends you never expected it from. My family has been blessed over this course to have many people step up that we weren't expecting and a church step up that we weren't expecting to create safe, authentic spaces and become family. And for that, I'm thankful. I do hope the exploration of the Jonah Effect will cause you to start percolating thoughts of where you're acting from in your relationships when challenges come up. Is it a place of out of fear or a place out of hope? For when we act out of hope, we can overcome those things that even seem insurmountable to us. So, where do you find hope? And who are those friends and true family, whether blood or not, that will allow you to continue to grow in hope even in your darkest time?